So we're officially back, PSGL back on the channel, league racing content picking up, and we're starting a new season here, round number 1 at the Spanish Grand Prix. And for this season we are in the F3 split. Our teammate is the returning Louis Welch, who of course I was teammates with last season in F2 in the Alpine on F1 2021. And yeah, we're going to see if we can have a decent season driving the Williams FW44. So intro aside, we're going to see how this goes. It's a very strong grid. F1 is essentially esports. F2 is the new kind of tier 1, you know, of like normal league racing drivers. And yeah, generally the level of league racing is extremely higher than it's ever been right now, because it's not just casual racing anymore. It's full of, you know, F1 esports, reserve drivers, development drivers, young drivers. And yeah, the league racing scene right now is extremely strong. So far so good. So yeah, you know, a lot of these guys have moved from console over, and yeah, the PC side is absolutely stacked. With that said, in the background you've been seeing me currently getting my first banker lap done in qualifying, and we're going to see what exactly we can do in this session, and hopefully it's a decent one. So a few things to note: my personal best is a 1:16.2 illegally. That wasn't the best chicane.
But that is a good banker. That is my personal best banker. I've never done a 0.4 banker before.
My best banker lap, which was legal, was a 0.35, and my previous personal best banker at the start of the session was a mid-5. So we've already set our personal best in terms of our starting lap, our banker lap, which is a high 4. So yeah, my all-time PB 3.5 and the legal PB 2.5. So we're aiming for a 0.2 in this qualifying, and I'd be pretty happy with that. So second attempt, and you can see we're down by about half a tenth, 3/4 of a tenth, as we lose the back end through turn 3, just getting a little bit loose as I tried to get a bit too much throttle down.
We've only got 2 laps of fuel left.
And yeah, that was the end of that. I actually decided to go for a second attempt, as of course that was a spin. I had tyres, fuel in the battery, so also time, let's go again, why not? And let's try to build up some confidence before our final run. So trying again for the second time through turns 1 and 2. This time we're up by a fraction, so a much better job through here. Taking it a bit safe through turn 3, and in sector 1 we're up by the smallest of margins as we set a 21.88. Into sector 2 now, trying to keep it tight through turn 4 down to turn 5. A little bit wide of the apex there, but we do a good job of maintaining decent speed. However, the exit does let us down as we lose the back end completely. Now into the left, right, 7 and 8, up into turn 9. Small little lift as we almost go flat out through there as we open the DRS down into turn 10, the new turn 10, braking about 80 meters down to 4th, quickly back on the power as our teammate goes for a spin. Now into the final part of the lap, the final sector, long swooping right using all the run-off curb, and now dipping into these 90-degree corners to close out the lap, trying to see if we can find some more lap time. And we was briefly up at the chicane, but then we lost it on the exit, which wasn't ideal.
No, should have pit. Thought I could have maybe pulled it back there, but
You hear me say that I thought I could have maybe improved, but yeah, we just lost it at the wrong point. And had I, you know, noticed earlier, I would have pit. But either way, 30 seconds to go. Last attempt. Let's try and see if we can hook up the entire lap, because the pace is there, I think, for 1 lap.
30 seconds left in the session.
So here we go. DRS open for the final time. Down to turn 1, we're going to spot the braking point, which is the 50-meter board for this one, or the little bit of asphalt on the left. Down to 5th, avoid the sausage curbs on either apex. Easily done through there. Lots of inside curb through 3, and we're pretty much even with our personal best through sector 1. Braking at the 50 for turn 4, trying to get a late apex to take a nice tight exit, and you can see we find a little bit of time through there into turn number 5, again this time staying nice and close to the apex. Exit not so great, I could have gone on the power a bit earlier, but still now through 7 and 8, trying to carry some serious speed through there, and you can see we're up by about half a tenth. Through turn 9 though, we just go a bit too early. No, I went too tight. And you hear me say I went a bit too tight, just compromised my line, and I had to lose a bit on the exit. Through turn 10 we lost a bit more time, and now we've got a bit of traffic here as we head into the final sector. And it isn't really the improvement I was hoping for. We do find a chunk of time through there, that long right-hander. And now I just went absolutely all out through these final few corners here just to give it everything. And you can see we're finding a bit of time. Exit, not the best out of the chicane. I should have gone in 4th instead of 5th. But yeah, that is going to be it.
Not good enough. Damn it. Oh, that's frustrating. Way more pace in it.
And unfortunately, only a mid-4 in the end, which wasn't really my pace. Analysing the sector times, you know, knowing what I can do. The first sector was fine. I couldn't really do much more than that. But the middle sector, there was a whole 10th in there. Maybe even a little bit more. And also the final sector as well. I feel like I could have gone on a perfect lap about 2/10 quicker. I think P6 would have been possible on a perfect lap. P5 and above, just a bit too far for me, but P6 definitely achievable. Instead though, P14 in what is again a very close grid, and yeah, 4/10 covering the top 14 and 3/10 covering, or 3.5 covering the top 13. So a pretty close one here in qualifying, and it's going to be tough to fight back, of course. You can't really overtake here in Spain, so it's going to take a bit of strategy for us to try and make things work in the race. So let's see what we can do. For now though, P14 in the first qualifying of the season. So quickly here, we're just going to go through our strategy, starting on the hard compound tyres for the race. I was going to go medium, but we're quite far back, so I'm just going to go long. The plan here is to adjust my tyre pressures in the hope that I can go nice and long on this first stint. I think that's going to be the option that I go for here. So very important that we try and keep the tyres alive as the lights go out for the season opener, and it's a great start as we get Oscar Villacampa straight away off the line. Further back, Zoltan Boulder, brilliant start on the medium, getting the launch as we head down to turn number 1. Now at this point, caution as you try to select the right line, heading through 1 and 2. We're going to sneak through here and just get on the inside in this very, very tight space on Villacampa. And we're going to try to get by as we now race down into turn number 4. Lots of too wide up ahead, so we can't really brake super late, otherwise we're going to lose our front wing. Still just edging in front here, side by side, it's dead even. Yellow flag as there's contact on the left. Down to turn 5, do the cars wash across the track? No, they don't. But Villacampa just...
An incident on track, but officials aren't looking to push for a safety car right now. Just be careful.
That may have been an overtake under yellow flag for Villacampa. I'll watch that back afterwards if someone wants to clip that. But that looked like an overtake under yellow.
Now I can say it was actually just legal by the smallest of margins. You watch it back when the yellow gets thrown. And then the VSC, it was so close. But Oscar was just ahead. Anyway.
Virtual safety car is ending. Maintain your pace until we get the green flags. VSC ending. Wait for the greens.
Why did everyone ahead just like slow down so much? My
Green
god.
flag.
The delta was ridiculous.
Back underway. For some reason everyone just went really slow under the VSC, so there was a massive field spread. And yeah, we left 3 seconds on the table. I could have got a bit closer. But yeah, everyone just seemed to have dropped off. For now though, we've got a couple of Alpines behind us. So we settle into this race in P13. So we're up a place compared to where we started, thanks to of course the double cars taking themselves out. And we know we can probably get Villacampa, and also we've got the Red Bull ahead on mediums, who I believe got wiped out in the contact. Zoltan Boulder coming together with Lefted. So yeah, this is our net position right now in this race. No real things happened as we're now going on to lap 8. All I can say is that in this final sector, we actually managed to drop the car behind out of the RS range. I had an insane second half of the lap, setting a personal best and pulling away, and that was the nail in the coffin, as the cars behind just dropped out of range in terms of DRS. So at this point, we've done a good job of, you know, pulling away from those lot, and right now the issue is this Ferrari. Philip Bolters, not really on the pace, and Villacampa, I was surprised because I know he's a pretty quick driver. He just never even tried to go for the move, so gradually we was losing contact with the cars ahead in the top 10, and we actually fell out of the DRS train. So it was quite frustrating. I couldn't do anything about it, you know, when you're in a DRS train behind 2 cars.
We're approaching the pit window and you're going to be on mediums.
Those are some early stops.
As Himba said, those are some early stops, but we're going to see some action now as the pit stop window begins to bring some action.
Car on the Ferrari's out of battery.
Himba said Ferrari there with the light flashing out of battery now. I was looking to get by, but I just couldn't get it done. I was struggling all race with my traction out of here. I wasn't quite as good as everybody else getting the power down through the chicane, but the Ferrari now pits. So this is going to be the overcut attempt to get the Ferrari.
Green flag.
Hopefully Villacampa pits this lap.
So yeah, hopefully Oscar pits and we can, you know, go for basically a double overcut. that's the plan here. We're going to follow him until he pits, and then we're going to deploy all of our battery, which we've done a good job of saving a massive chunk of. The ERS is hard to recharge here, so important to have some in the reserve, and we are ready for an overcut. My tyres are great. I feel comfortable as Oscar.
Well, that's going to be a fucking report. Jesus Christ. What a joke. Does you think I'm not going to report him for that?
We're going to box this lap and push hard on the impact.
Anyway, with that side, I can say I think Oscar got a penalty for that. So yeah, that was a ridiculous cut. Not sure why he done that anyway. Lap 19, Oscar stayed out longer than I thought, but eventually he does pit. So this is it. We're going to get one lap to send it an overcut. We have to give it everything. It's going to be very key.
Hey, sped. Let's go.
Understood. Stopping this lap.
So that's going to cost him later on this race. But yeah, we're now P1. We're going to lead for a brief while. And the end lap was insane. I was up by 0.4 of a second on my personal best. On, 60% rubber. Went super long into the race, longer than I ever imagined, because Oscar stayed out super long. But the pace was great, and I was considering staying out another lap, but I thought, you know what, this lap was so good, I'm just going to take it while I can and box now, and we're going to get the mediums on our cars. We push into the pit lane here like crazy.
That was a great end lap. I was up by 0.4.
So yeah, let's see. Hopefully we get the pit stop right, get the pull in perfect, and also the pull away. Purple, good start. We need a 2.2, and we're going to get ready. And there we go, that is right on the money.
Perfect.
Absolutely perfect. Let's see, it's going to be close. Off the limiter.
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross onto the track.
So we're just behind Philip Walters, who has DRS on Harlan Marquis ahead, who has a 3-second time penalty. But we have successfully overcut Oscar Villacampa. The issue now, though, we are on cold tyres. Oscar's tyres are nicely warmed up. I thought he wasn't going to go for it here, and I turned the battery off, but right at the last moment he sticks his nose in and goes for it. So I have to leave the space, and I don't quite have the traction, which was a shame. I tried to re-challenge and put him off, but it wasn't really going to work.
Still, he's got a penalty, so we'll finish ahead of him. Not going to fall into the trap of losing time.
There's been an incident on track resulting in loose debris. Fortunately, the marshals have managed to clear it up in time, and there are so far no plans for a safety car.
Bro. Safety car deployed, and my god, imagine if I just stayed out one more lap.
I don't know why Villacampa pitting. He can't serve his penalty unless he's going to retire.
As Villacampa pits for some reason, not quite sure. But anyway, that aside, we're now up to P12. So this is net position. We're going to have fresh and mediums, and everybody ahead, but everybody behind is pitting for fresh mediums. So we've got that threat of guys on fresher tyres behind us. So let's see how it goes. Anyway, restart time. Let's see if we can make it work. We've got Harlan Marquis with the penalty. So right now, if we just clear Philip Walters, we're in the points. So making good progress as we get back underway. Green flag in this race. And straight away, everybody absolutely just draining the battery on the ERS, which was frustrating because you think people would know by now, as we have an incident at turn one car around, then another one. As that was a Fionn McKee. So we're up to P10 now, and that could be P9 with a penalty to Marquis.
Cold tyres catching everyone out.
So yeah, right now this is looking pretty solid. If we can clear Philip, we're looking at P8, which is insane. So
There's been an incident on track, but officials aren't looking to push for a safety car right now. Just be careful.
let's see how it goes. We've got exactly 10 laps remaining in this race, and behind us we've got the Alfa Romeo looking pretty racy. He's all over my gearbox, so we'll see how that goes. I'm trying to find a way past on the car ahead. We don't get the best run through turn 9, slightly early on the apex, and the Alfa Romeo is going to look for a move here. I try to brake late to avoid the dive, but I instead actually run myself in a bit deep. Luckily we get good traction, and I managed to just take the right line and defensive line to stay ahead and lose no time. You can see I'm all over the back of the Ferrari here, which I believe was running quite a bit less wing than me. He was fast on the straight, which was making it hard to overtake. Even with Oscar ahead before, he couldn't pass him on the straight. But he wasn't that quick in the corners. Again though, my traction out there, not great.
This guy's just going to keep using his battery to try and get past me.
You can hear me say there, it's going to be a battery battle. And here he comes, he's looking for the move. Instead, we're actually getting a run on the Ferrari. In hindsight, I really wish I'd actually committed to that move there. And just kept on using my battery. I think I could have had a look at the Ferrari into turn 1. That would have been a real key point in the race. And I tried to get the run here out of 3 because I could feel the pressure from behind. You know, everybody on fresher tyres behind me. Even though it's just 5%, but you could notice that they were just getting that traction down, and I was struggling to keep them at bay, and I was trying everything to get by here, but it just wasn't happening. I couldn't find the way past.
Cheers, mate.
As I get a bit of a hit on the rear from the Alfa Romeo, which almost put me offline there. Luckily we recovered well. Either way, laps ticking over. The longer this goes on, especially once DRS gets enabled, things will calm down a bit. Everyone's been very, reckless and desperate before DRS gets enabled, because the more places you gain before DRS gets enabled, the better your race is going to go. Further back, Oscar Camper has taken out the Alfa Romeo, so Corey the backer.
Okay, the incident's been cleared. Let's get back up to racing speed. Come on.
I need to clear Ferrari. Like in the first in. It's not fast enough.
Corey the backer is now behind us, and then Zoltan Boulder after him, and the Alpha and Oscar Camper are out of the race. So, yeah, at this point I'm trying to get by. Again here we're going to use a big chunk of battery, but you can see the Ferrari.
DRS has been enabled. DRS is now enabled.
It's pulling away on the straight. Again, in hindsight, I wish I'd committed here, although I believe the Ferrari had lots of battery left anyway. It would have been a chance to get by, and I really wish I'd taken it in hindsight. Lap 27 now though, and apologies for the notification you're going to hear from my Twitch stream in the background. But anyway, through turn 9, I actually hit the corner pretty sweet. Corey the backer runs a bit wide off track limits. Down into turn 10 though, what the fuck? What a reckless dive, and luckily no damage for neither of us, but a pump to pass in many ways from the Alpine driver, and he sneaks by. Fair play, I was kind of struggling and he caught me unawares a little bit, but I mean, I really didn't expect him to dive from that far back, especially the fact that, he kind of exploited track limits to get a better run out of turn 9 down to turn 10, which wasn't fair.
ERS management doesn't exist.
And here comes Zoltan Boulder. I'm having to defend using all the battery. I tried to re-challenge Corey into turn 1, who we do manage to force a defensive line from. It was very late, so I couldn't have really done much about that anyway, but yeah, right now we're in the thick of it. These guys on fresher tyres are just, hard to keep behind. Corey's got no battery left. I'm running on the reserves now, and Zoltan Boulder is pretty quick, especially on the straights. Through turn 9, lap 29, you can see here, he's going for it. He's using the battery. I go defensive into the hairpin and place my car perfectly here as we keep it nice and clean. One single move, moved early to not, spring any surprises, and we managed to stay in front. Meanwhile, Corey the backer putting pressure on Philip, but again also not able to get past on the straight. The Ferrari was just really, really quick, and making it hard to overtake him in this race in these closing stages, which was quite frustrating, especially on tyres.
I'm trying to save battery, but this guy just ain't letting me.
But here we go again. Zoltan fighting back. We're going to defend the inside into turn 1. Bit of a double move there, but I was kind of moving across anyway, so I didn't really exaggerate the movement. Side by side though, we both leave enough space as we now race into turn 3. We hold the inside line side by side throughout this entire sequence. Brilliant piece of racing, fair but hard racing. Into turn 4, we get the brakes down late, and we manage to get back in front and place our car beautifully to avoid getting switched back out of turn 4 down to turn 5, and we stay in front of the Hungarian driver. Next lap we have Jack Humphreys, who disconnected, I believe, due to a PC issue, so we're up a place here as we move into the top 10 yet again. I was going to say, Corey the backer, he has fresher tyres than me. He's got even more fresher tyres compared to the Ferrari, but again proving overtaking is not easy here, especially if the car ahead has a ridiculous straight line speed advantage. It's just hard because he's got even fresher tyres than what I had, and it's just not possible. At this stage, Hyler Marquez was struggling for pace, and it's the last lap of the race now. There is a P7 on the cards if I can, get a bit lucky here, but overtaking is just impossible. I was trying to fight back in this last lap. I was pushing. I was on a personal best, and I was going to consider a lunge, but Corey defends the inside well through there. He saw the movement coming, and he defends perfectly.
Never really got the traction out of there at any point. Oh, fuck.
I also saved a big chunk of battery for the run to the line out the final chicane, but again, I was just struggling with that traction the entire time. Anyway, race done. We finish in P9 once penalties get applied. Not exactly sure what the full stewards' decisions are. All I know is Corey the backer got a penalty after the race, so that gives us P8. I believe that is final from what I can tell so far, and we'll start showing the standings from the next round if things change drastically. But basically, P8 for us here today, as we basically, get our place back ahead of Corey the Backer. And frustrating in many ways, because I really felt like I had a lot more pace than Philip Valters, but I just couldn't clear him on the straight. So a bit frustrating. Pace-wise, I felt like the hard tyre was better for me than the medium, but we were still okay, and the medium wasn't terrible. Overall, for the race, I think P7 was the best we could hope for, and that was realistically possible with a bit more luck. So, yeah, I'll take that P14 to P8 around a track where you can't really overtake. I'd consider that a pretty big success. And yeah, we move on to the next one, round number 2, which I believe is at Bahrain this week, and I'll be streaming that on my Twitch Thursday evening. WR is also back this weekend on Sunday. I'll be streaming that as well, so stay tuned. But yeah, guys, that is it from me here today. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. It really helps the channel out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. As always, check out the videos on screen, and I'll see you guys for some more league racing content. Until then, take care, and let's go back from me.